Free companies, or private military companies, are independent mercenary groups which are frequently commissioned for security and escort work in peacetime, as well as making themselves available as navies for hire in wartime. In modern Tantalus, the concept is overwhelmingly associated with the Maissian freehold, where free companies play a crucial societal role, but many such companies have their origins in the Centrum Assembly also, with some dating back centuries. The Falcon Company, originally the most noble company of bodily protection to His Grace the Viscount Falconrath, is a free company that dates back almost 700 years, to a time in Centran history when wars were fought with matchlock muskets and 18-foot pikes. Founded as the personal guard unit for an obscure and obsessively paranoid nobleman from the Abyssinian city of Silvermist, the Falconrath Company received an unexpected windfall when their noble client suddenly altered his will on his deathbed to leave his substantial fortune to his bodyguard company entirely, much to the disgruntlement of his own family. The Falconrath Company has remained in profit ever since, and continues to bear the incomprehensible noble heraldry of their founder, even into the vacuum of space. The Wind Chasers League, or League of Wind Chasers, was formed out of a coalition of individual mercenaries late in Halpern's War, who after years of fighting for the pirate king Jocastus Halpern were unified by the collective realization that the war was unlikely to end well for them. Banding together, these mercenaries carried out a mass defection to the Assembly, taking with them a great deal of crucial intelligence to hand over to the CDF, which ultimately played a huge part in securing the Assembly's final victory at Port Abernhart. Despite making every effort to style themselves around Centran nautical culture in a vain hope to rebrand themselves, the Wind Chasers continue to be regarded as infamous turncloaks, shunned as dishonourable by other free companies. But their fierceness in battle is undeniable, and for some clients is worth the risk of losing their hirelings to bribery or desertion. Founded by legendary Centran captain Matthew Cormier as a way to escape the tedium of promotion and old age, the Winged Chevalier are the surviving embodiment of his unorthodox spaceborne cavalry tactics. Deeply loyal to their founder's legacy, the Winged Chevalier prefer to take contracts for branches of the Assembly State, or for well-regarded Centran private institutions. In the early years of the Frontier War, the group jumped at the opportunity to fight on the side of the Assembly in a full-scale conflict, having been previously denied the chance to fight in Halpern's War on account of particularly heightened anti-corporatism across the Assembly, sparked by the controversial Andre Jabari. Favouring smaller ships, and especially those affiliated with their founder, the Chevaliers make extensive use of the famous Cuirassier-class brigantine, as well as its successor, the Carabinier class, which has fought almost all of its actions in the hands of the Chevaliers, having lived out its naval career in peacetime. In the Maissian freehold, free companies are a massively important part of daily life and the normal functioning of society. Excluding the small and much maligned Maissian State Guard, which came into existence in 291 PCU, the freehold lacks any form of standing military or police service. Instead, these duties are filled by the many free companies who compete for lucrative contracts. The wealthiest and most influential free company at any given time is granted a seat on the Freehold Directorate, alongside representatives of all the other guilds that have achieved similar paramountcy in their respective fields, and are awarded the most lucrative contracts in the Freehold, notably the defence and security of the city of Maissian itself, and the escort of the famous treasure ships. In 305 PCU, the current holders of paramountcy among Maissian free companies is Latimer Associates, but this has only been the case since the early days of the Frontier War. For much of Maissian history, the paramount free company was the famous Shiltran contractors, who constructed their headquarters of Tower Shield Station off Merrick's Keep, and are responsible for much of the freehold's long-standing security infrastructure. Holding the most lucrative contracts available for so long, however, led to a certain amount of financial complacency, and they were unprepared for the reduction in income that resulted from the creation of the Maissian State Guard. Unable to adapt quickly enough, Shiltran's profits slipped, and they lost their coveted seat to the more frugal Latimer Associates. A still relatively new and ambitious PMC, Latimer Associates' displacement of Shiltran has led to an enduring rivalry, which often played out in violence as each free company took an opposing side in the Frontier War, with Shiltran taking a contract with the Assembly and Latimer with the Union. To this day, many who lost their careers with Shiltran to the introduction of the State Guard hold the Latimer Company in nearly the same level of disdain as the Guard itself. To most of the Maissian population, however, no such judgment is passed, as this manner of opportunism is considered a crucial and central tenet of Maissian society. A free company that almost exclusively takes contracts for non-Maissian clients, the Exiled Legion is composed of Maissian citizens who have been exiled from the freehold itself for criminality, or far more often, for insolvency, itself a crime in the freehold, under the strictures of the so-called Doctrine of Commercial Meritocracy, the rigid social dogma of Maissia's harshly enforced closed-system society. still expected to pay taxes to their distant homeland, despite many being the former inhabitants of debtors' prisons, the Legion make reasonable profits providing mostly station-based security services in systems like Teldrin, Valeria, and Vidara, but continue to be regarded with distrust by their countrymen. Selkirk Risk Management, or SRM, were a free company of middling relevance and popularity in Mercia, until in the midst of the Frontier War, they did something quite unusual for a Mercian security firm. After several years of fighting on the side of the Union, their contract expired, and their Union clients, in the midst of increasing financial problems, reluctantly chose not to renew it, instead prioritising continued shipbuilding. But Ian Selkirk and his staff had grown enamoured with the plight of the Frontier Union, having lived and fought among Union communities the last several seasons, with many having even married into Unioner families. Instead of taking his free company home to Mercia once the money ran out, he allowed those who wished it to depart, while himself staying with the rest of his much diminished company to continue fighting for the Union for whatever pittance of funding they could offer, and oftentimes for no payment at all. To this day, Selkirk Risk Management continues to form a small part of the Frontier Union's system security and anti-piracy forces in the southeastern frontier. Thank you for watching. You can get the Sojourn through various distributors, all of which are accessible through www.thesojournaudiodrama.com. You can also get the series through Patreon, where you'll be able to access various bonus features, including our visual dictionary, Guinevere cross-sections, and anthology shorts. Remember to join us on Discord and get regular updates on all upcoming Sojourn releases. All the related links can be found below this video. Fair winds.